Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to our coffee times to discuss books and horror, and today I'm bringing you my TBR pile for the month of April.
It's coffee time!
Putting together the TBR for the month of April has been one of the biggest challenges this year thus far, but it's also been a lot of fun. So last year I had such a good time participating in Old School April, which is a readathon hosted by Kelsey over at Slime and Slashers, and this year I was so ready to participate again, and they always put so much time and effort into everything, and it's such a blessing to join because, you know, I love nostalgia, I love the 80s, the 90s, and that is what this readathon is all about. It's not also about horror, it's about all genres, which I love it, so anybody can participate, but of course in my case I do like to pick horror books for the prompts. You also can pick your own team. There's also activities. There is also a watch along. There are things that you have to watch as well, apart from the things that you need to read. There is just so much information. So I'm gonna leave down below the link to the original video explaining absolutely everything about the readathon. That includes links to everything as well. So in case you want to participate, you can take a look. So today I spent probably a couple of hours trying to figure out how to put this TBR together because I know that I'm not going to be able to read way too many books. There are 45 different prompts. 45 prompts just for books. That is a lot, so I knew that I had to combine the heck all of them to be able to finish and get as many points as possible as well for my team. And it has taken me a while to put this together because I wanted to make sure the books that I read are books that I really want to read, that I'm probably really going to enjoy, because I also don't want to DNF things and stuff like that. Some books I have ordered, other books I already had, and I just made sure to fit absolutely every single prompt of the list, so all 45 prompts are covered. I also have backup plans. In case one of these books for whatever reason doesn't work for me, I have backups. So we're all good. This is a list with all the reading prompts, and I kept putting red dots as I was completing the prompts, and I was not satisfied until all of them were finished. They also have merch this year, and I did buy a t-shirt that will come hopefully in time for the readathon. I ordered it the moment that Kelsey uploaded the announcement video, but they did warn us that it's going to take a little time for the t-shirts to be shipped and everything, so I ordered it right away in the hopes that it's going to be here on time for the readathon, obviously. But they are really cool. They have t-shirts, they have mugs, they have stickers. It's really cool, so I cannot wait to get my t-shirt on the mail. And because there are so many reading prompts, I'm not gonna go through all the different prompts in this video. I'm just gonna tell you the books that I have picked to read in the month of April and the prompts that those books fulfill. So a lot of the books fulfill multiple prompts, but Kelsey did say that you can repeat prompts, so I'm gonna get a lot of points for my team. That's my aim in the month of April, and let's get to the TBR pile. First we have Nelves by Sydney Williams, and I had to read this one this year anyway because it is the book that Kelsey recommended to me for 12 books by 12 friends, so I had to read it in 2024 anyway, and this book fits a couple of the prompts, so I decided I'll pick this one up in April and read it for that vlog, for that 12 by 12, but then also I can add it to my Old School April TBR pile. It is about the Nelves, which are a cartoon that a lot of children love and adore from television until they turn into killers. That's all I know, but this cover is amazing. It sounds really goofy, and this book has been reissued, so you can currently get a copy on Amazon, which is what I did. I have ordered my copy on Amazon, so it's gonna be on its way to me now, and I'm really excited for this. And this fulfills the prompts of retro vintage, VCR, Toy Story, Pimp My Ride, and New Kids. So there we go, couple of prompts already covered. The next book is Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright, and this is a book that I wanted to read anyway for a reading vlog that I want to do this year. in which I read really disturbing books. So I wanted to start that vlog anyway, so I can start it now in April. And I will be reading several books that have been recommended to me and said they are really disturbing and gross. So I want to read a couple of those in one single vlog and upload it and let you know if those books were actually really disturbing to me or not. And also this book fulfills, I think, a total of 11 prompts or something. So this baby has me covered for a lot of the prompts, but keep in mind that this book is very disturbing, very gross. It's probably going to be very graphic. So this is not a book that I would recommend to everybody. Make sure to check all the trigger warnings and stuff. So even though it fulfills a lot of the prompts, it might not be for everybody. This book follows a guy, I believe that he is from the UK, and he's like a serial killer that moves to the US and meets an artist that is a playboy that is taking his art to the next level. I'm guessing it has something to do with killing people, and they join forces and look for targets, people that they can probably torture and abuse and all of that. I'm not exactly 100% sure everything that goes on in this book because I don't want to know a lot of it before I start reading. I want to be a surprise so that I can vlog it and let you guys know. I just know that it's a very disturbing book and that it's very gross, but it's also very good. That's what I've heard. So I'm ready to disgust myself with this book. Hopefully, you know, I'm always looking for books that are going to shock me or, you know, kind of like impact me in ways that regular horror books maybe don't do anymore in my case. So I'm hoping that this one is going to be one of those. And let me tell you all the prompts that this book covers for me. We have Pimp My Ride, Reading Rainbow, Retro Vintage, The Young and the Restless, Breakfast Club, Tiny Toons, Scooby-Doo, Say Anything, New Kids, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and Tiger Beat. Those are all the prompts that it covers for me. Next we have Mole Rats by Ivy Tholen. This is a YA book. I read a book by the author last year called Tastes Like Candy, and part 2 of that book is going to be published also this year in April. That's been announced. And I thought, you know, I wanted to read more by the author because Tastes Like Candy was such a good slasher. So I went ahead and ordered this one. So this is another one that is on its way to me. And I wanted this one because in this book we are in 1999 and we are in a shopping mall where people are being killed. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Ginny is in a shopping mall when she discovers a dead body, so now she finds herself in the middle of a murder mystery. And the worst part is that there are more bodies that are going to be discovered, and the police suspects Ginny's best friend. This book fulfills for me the prompts of Larger Than Life, Pimp My Ride, Time Wrap, Neon, Mall of America, Goonies, and Buffy. We're going now to a middle grade book. I have here a Goosebumps book. This is called The Creepy Creations of Professor Shock. And I chose also this one because this is a choose your own story kind of thing. So there are 20 different endings, and I remember when I was younger, I went to the library and I was always looking for these books where you could choose your own story. So it's kind of reminiscent to my, you know, younger years. So I thought it would be perfect as well for these readathon. I believe it follows a group of friends that find these old guys like garage, and when they go in, then I guess there's several doors you can take, several options and things that you can do to try to get out of there alive. But I also chose this one because it fulfills multiple prompts for me. So this book covers the prompts Retro Vintage, Time Warp, You're In For a Scare, 16 Candles, X-Files, Goonies, and Nirvana. The next book is also quite self-explanatory. It is 101 horror books to read before you're murdered by Sadie Hartman. This is a non-fiction book that I wanted to read anyways. It was already on my wish list, so I decided to finally get it. It's another one that I just bought for the readathon, and it's on its way to me. And the book is basically what the title implies, is horror books that you have to read. And I've been really intrigued to check this one out and see how many of the 101 I have read and how many I have not, because I trust Sadie's opinion a lot. She reads so much horror, she has so much experience, and so I really want to get to this book and see how many I still need to read. And this book fulfills the prompts of Pimp My Ride, Fern Gully, Monster Squad, True Life, Ghost Rider, Muppet Babies, and Buffy. Next we have Full Tilt by Neil Shusterman. This is another YA book, and this is another book that I had on my radar for a long time. I heard someone talking about it a long time ago, and I don't know if it was Ali from Hardback Hoarder, but I remember somebody talking about it and saying that they really loved it. They read it when they were younger, and I've always been intrigued about this book, so I realized it fulfills a couple of the prompts that I need, and so is a perfect opportunity now, so I also ordered this one. We follow 16-year-old Blake that, you know, all his life he's been taking charge of his younger brother Quinn, and this occasion is no different. They are now trapped in a phantom carnival with, I guess, some evil guy that wants to steal their soul, something like that, and I'm like, this sounds like a lot of fun, and I was looking for a book that had either clowns or carnival for that prompt, and I feel like this one is a perfect match for me. Also because in order to survive this carnival, Blake has to go through, I think, 7 different rides inside of the carnival, and I thought that was just like so much fun. It sounds like a perfect read for me. With this book, I'm covering the prompts Retro Vintage, Killer Clowns, Spellmaster, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Sesame Street, Goonies, and Little Golden Book. Next we have Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. This is a middle grade that I also had on my wish list, on my radar anyway, so I have finally ordered a copy, again on its way to me, and I chose this one because it fulfills several prompts, but also because I really wanted to read it. So as you can see, there's a common thread in this TBR. I feel like in the past when I was joining readathons, I was just picking books that fit the prompts without really thinking about it too much, or stopping to think if it was gonna be a book for me or not. And sometimes I ended up reading things that were not down my alley or that I didn't really enjoy. So I am trying to curate now a more kind of like TBR pile that fits my horror taste. 11-year-old Ollie has gone through a really big loss in her life, and now she finds refuge in books. So now she sees an old woman that is about to throw a book into the river, and she is compelled to rescue that book. So she takes the book and starts reading it, and that's where her story starts. I also really wanted to read this book because it's the first book on a middle grade creepy book series that I wanted to read, and I do want to read it in order, so finally I'm gonna get book 1 and read it. And this one is going to cover for me the prompts of Fern Gully, Willow, Goonies, Halfway to Halloween, Once Upon a Forest, New Kids, and Buffy. Next we have Weekend by Christopher Pike. I haven't read any Christopher Pike yet this year, so I think it is about time. I believe in this one we follow some friends that go to Mexico for a trip and somebody gets poisoned. So there is a snake between them and they have to figure out who done it. I think that's what we are dealing with here. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's also short, and yeah, I needed a Christopher Pike for this readathon. It is going to cover for me the prompts of Retro Vintage, Yearbook, Throwback, Nirvana, and Goodies. Scanlines by Todd Kaisling, and this is a horror novella that I got for my Kindle, and this is one that I also really wanted to try because it features a cursed VHS tape. So yes, please. In 1987, a congressman died by suicide in national television, and the tape of that suicide is something that has been considered to be, I think it's called the Duncan tapes, and they say, the legend says that everybody that watches that tape will die. So yeah, need I say more? So I think people start connecting with each other in creepypasta chats and stuff like that, trying to find a tape and watch it. I don't know why you would want to do that, because, you know, it's cursed, but, you know, I'm not judging anybody here. I just want to see everybody just die. So I'm really excited for this one, and it's going to cover for me the prompts of Teen Witch, VCR, Mini-Me, Pimp My Ride, Freddy's Nights, and New Kids. I mean, Freddy's Nightmare is basically a prompt that you can choose for any book because it's a book that you think is gonna be scary. Next we have Racing Hell by Briony Pierce. I did read Savage Island and I really enjoyed that book, so I have been meaning to read more by the author. I did pick this one up I think 2 years ago at Yalk, and so I have been looking for the opportunity to read it, and lucky for me, it fits several of the prompts. So Ivy and her friends did something really stupid and they kind of released magic into the world, and now every teenager has access to this really bad magic. So now she's fighting against evil together with a cat that is possessed by her grandmother's soul. That sounds amazing to me. It kind of, sounds and looks a little bit Buffy-esque, so I'm really excited to give this one a try. And this book is gonna cover the following prompts for me: Free Willy, Buffy, Teen Witch, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Willow, Monster Squad, Goonies, and Britpop. The Broken Girls by Simmons and James, and I chose this one because I needed to find a book that had a dual or multiple timeline, and I know that Simmons and James normally has it. So my idea is, if my pre-order from Murder Run comes on time for the readathon, I will read that one instead, because I'm waiting on the pre-order from Waterstones, and that's a new release that I really want to read. But if it doesn't come on time, then I have this one as a backup. I have it on my Kindle, and I have been meaning to read it anyways because I do want to read all the books by Simmons and James. In the first timeline here, we're in the 1950s in a school for troubled girls where one of the girls that was there disappeared. Then we follow another woman in 2014 that is investigating the death of her sister. And her sister's dead body was found in the same grounds that this school was built in the 50s. And so the stories that Simmons and James tells are normally two different timelines, but the characters are somewhat connected, and that's what I really enjoy, and I always have a lot of fun with it. So if Murder Run comes on time, I'll pick that one. If not, I'll read this one, and hopefully I will really love it, because so far I have really enjoyed all the books I have read by the author, and this one is going to fulfill for me the prompt of Larger Than Life, Buffy, Fern Gully, and Back to the Future. And by this point, the only prompt that I had not covered was the one with reading a book with a color in the title. It was really hard. I do have Ruby by V.C. Andrews, but that book is so chunky that I don't know if I can fit it and finish it on time, so I don't want to risk it. So I did some researching and I did find another book on my TBR pile that has a color in the title, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Now this is not horror, so it's the only book for this readathon that I'm going to be reading that it's not horror, but I've been really intrigued about this book. I have found so many different booktubers that reads all kind of different books and genres that love this book, so there has to be something about it that makes it so special. I bought it last year at Yalk and I'm ready to read it. I believe the main character is an adult that is in charge of these kids that have magical powers, so it is more of a fantasy book, but I've heard it has a lot of heart and it is beautiful, so it might wreck me. We shall see. I think it also has found family, which is something that I also do enjoy, because I do firmly believe that family is the people that you choose and not the family that you were born into. So I really like that trope in books as well. And this one is gonna cover for me the prompts of Larger Than Life, Teen Witch, Fern Gully, Willow, Pretty in Pink, Goonies, and New Kids. Then I am adding into the mix Killjoy by Holly Jackson because I have finished the official trilogy and I wanted to read the novella right after that, and I have found out this is actually a prequel, but it did come out last, so I will still be reading them in publication order, and this is a prequel for us basically to get to know Pip. I think she's involved in a murder, like it's probably just gonna be a quick story, but I want to read it now that I have finished with the official trilogy. And it's still gonna count at least for 2 prompts that I know already, which is Mini-Me and Buffy, so extra points for my team. And the only other prompt that I had left to cover was Off the Rack, which is to read a magazine, like a nostalgic magazine, and I'm gonna read one of my older copies of Roomwork magazine. I have several Roomwork magazines and it's all about horror, and there is a lot of older horror movies there as well featured. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's been a long time since I read a Rumark magazine, so I'm gonna go back to my archive and find them and then read one of them for this prompt. There you have it, you guys. All 45 prompts are covered, and there are some of these prompts that I'm hitting multiple times to get those extra points for my team. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you read any of these books. Also, let me know if you are participating in Old School April. I'm really excited. I'm also gonna try to even journal it a little bit, which I've never really done. So I'm really excited for April and to read all the horror books and to join all the activities for this readathon as well. Check it out if you've never heard of it, because it's a lot of fun. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!